Bonsoir, bienvenue, welcome. Thanks for coming out again. And so we're going to just keep it going from here. I've got exercises that we're going to do as we go along. We'll look at some songs again. And if you ever have any suggestions, comments, let me know. We've already got one suggestion that's going to lead you into some homework. I won't say who gave it. I don't want to point any fingers, just that you don't want to get them in trouble. But no, I think it'd be fun. The idea is when you go home this evening, during the week, write down a list of, I don't know, 10 or 15 songs with the artist if you have it. Like the name of the song and the artist. It can be in French, it can be in English, it can be whatever. Okay? Something you like. Something that you go back to regularly.
And it can also be done by other people, covered.
Yeah, that's right. Like,
favorite cover.
For example, somebody who sings
Harvest Moon.
Yeah, Neil Young does Harvest Moon.
But done by Rena Del Cid.
Yeah, done by somebody else, if that's what you prefer, you know.
It has to be covers, not the original.
No, it can be.
Okay.
Either or. This is really open. Just the songs that you like in French or in English, 10 or 15 of them. And then what we'll do is we'll compile the list. Actually, Mike suggested it. And then we discover, you know, first of all, each other's tastes. And sometimes you discover songs that you've never heard of. And you'll go on YouTube and you'll listen to it. Oh, what's this? You know? And like I said, French, English, it can be an artist. If you only have the title of the song, that's fine too. It might be a song that your mom used to sing to you when you were a kid and all you remember is the title. So yeah. So did you hear that? That's it? Make a list.
Already started.
I already started. Good student. Where are we going to start? Yeah, maybe I'll wait. Once you've got your 3 or 4 themes, everybody gave some themes last week, so we'll add them to the list. That's what we're going to use. These lists, we made them for a reason. Okay? On fait pas ça pour rien, là. So we're going to use these every time we do an exercise. We'll come back to these lists. It doesn't mean that your song, the end game is writing a poem or a song. Doesn't mean it has to be on these lists. We'll be using them as inspiration for the exercise. Simple as that. So off we go. The songs from this week. You've got the ones from last week, which we didn't do all of them. I'll have to ask Glenn. Yeah, if you get, because they did get photocopied. I always send them here to Michel, who works with Daniel. She's the young lady in the marketing department. So I send her, and then she photocopies, and so we go from there. But anyway, we'll be starting with a French song. We'll be starting with Attends-moi si go. And like I said, there's always a method to my madness. And because we're going to be working the rhyme specifically, and I know lots of songs have rhymes, actually some don't have any rhymes at all. I picked this one because it shows merci. Yeah, here, you got. So, 5. 5. 1, 2, 3. And you'll notice that if we don't get through the songs tonight, I'll be carrying them over. I always over prepare. I figure it's easier to over-prepare and have to cut stuff out than under-prepare and then start, reaching for stuff. In the fire department, we have a saying that says it's better to have it, than look for it. Ouais, on va commencer avec Attends-moi, petit gars. Donc, this is a song by Félix Leclerc, who's a legend by Quebec, French Canada, actually.
France too. And France too.
In France, especially in France. Actually, he's from Quebec, but he made his name in France before he was well known in Quebec. He was known in Quebec, but not as well known as after he came back from France. I guess they figured, he comes from here, how good can he be? Nul ne soit prophète dans son pays. How would you say that in English? You're not really a prophet in your own country. You have to go somewhere else before people in your country just say, oh, wow, is he ever good? Because other people are saying, wow, he's good. So he was back in, the reason I'm explaining this, because this dates to back in the 40s or 50s. His period of being known goes right to the 80s until he deceased in the 80s. But his major works were done in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and some 70s, some of the 70s. And he wrote books and stuff. But like I said, I picked this song because of the rhymes, and then after that we'll start working a little bit with rhymes. So I'll go through it, and like I did with my song, the French one, I'll go through it and then I'll explain it, and we'll look at the rhymes and we'll go from there. Faut pas que j'aille trop vite là, not too quick. Love was in the de nous autres, parce qu'on avait 12 enfants, changé son fusil d'épaule depuis qu'elle en a autant. Attends-moi, petit gars, tu vas tomber si je suis pas là. Le plaisir de l'un, c'est de voir l'autre se casser le cou. Quand le patron te raconte que t'es adroit et gentil, soit que t'es le nigo qui fait marcher son bateau. Attends-moi, petit gars, tu vas tomber si je suis pas là. Le plaisir de l'un, c'est de voir l'autre se casser le cou. Il est jeune, il est joli, il est riche, il est poli, mais une chose l'ennuie, c'est son valet que j'ai mis. Attends-moi, petit gars, tu vas tomber si je suis pas là. Le plaisir de l'un, c'est de voir l'autre se casser le cou. L'argent est au bas de l'échelle et le talent par en haut. C'est pourquoi personne n'en vaut, pourtant la vue est plus belle. Attends-moi, petit gars, tu vas tomber si je suis pas là. Le plaisir de l'un, c'est de voir l'autre se casser le cou. Parce que j'avais pas de manteau, la peau de mon chien, tu voyais pas du salaud que moi qui chante ce refrain. Attends-moi, petit gars, tu vas tomber si je suis pas là. Le plaisir de l'un, c'est de voir l'autre se casser le cou. Quand on me dit va à droite, c'est à gauche que je m'attelle. Aux enfers on rejette, on se verra tête au ciel. Attends-moi, petit gars, tu vas tomber si je suis pas là. Le plaisir de l'un, c'est de voir l'autre se casser le cou. Couplet censuré. La veille des élections, il te pelait son fiston. Le lendemain, comme de raison, il avait oublié ton nom. Attends-moi, petit gars, tu vas tomber si je suis pas là. Le plaisir de l'un, c'est de voir l'autre se casser le cou. Quand monsieur le curé a dit la paroisse est pleine d'épis, c'est pas à cause des péchés, c'est que les villes n'ont pas payé. Attends-moi, petit gars, tu vas tomber si je suis pas là. Le plaisir de l'un, c'est de voir l'autre se casser le cou. Attends-moi, petit gars, tu vas tomber si je suis pas là. Le plaisir de l'un, c'est de voir l'autre se casser le cou. There we go. Merci. Thank you. Donc, attends-moi, petit gars, tu vas tomber sur ce chiffre-là. So this is a couplet refrain, so verse chorus. First verse. So before looking at the rhymes, we'll just look at the meaning. Fait que la voisine d'arrive de nous autres parce qu'on avait 12 enfants. Okay? So the neighbor used to laugh at us because we had 12 children. And don't forget, we're back in the 40s, 50s, so 12 children wasn't a big deal back then. Changer son fusil d'épaule depuis qu'elle en a autant. Literally translated, it's changing one's gun from one shoulder to the other shoulder. The expression means you're changing your mind. Changer son fusil d'épaule means you're changing your mind. And then, depuis qu'elle en a autant, since she has as many. So since I guess she had 12 children or maybe more, because he doesn't really say. So, just to look at the meaning, why do you think the neighbor would laugh at her other neighbor because she had 12 kids?
Protestant.
Of what?
The neighbor was Protestant.
Good one.
Monty Python.
The neighbor was Protestant. That could be. Okay, so if we go a little further in, if we go, because obviously she changed her mind for a reason, right? Because she had somewhere down the line, she had as many children as the neighbor she was laughing at. So she doesn't find it as funny anymore. So what do you think could be behind that? Why?
Peculiar sense of humor.
Yeah, a curious sense of humor. Could be that.
Peculiar sense of humor.
If you've got 12 kids back in the 50s, yeah, probably. More than likely. And it's mean to do that, but people often, the people who were the poorest in the village were often the ones we made fun of, unfortunately. And so that's why when she has the 12 kids, all of a sudden she starts to realize it's not so funny, And then we come to the refrain, chorus. In this case, the main message is in the chorus. Okay? But we'll go further. It says, attends-moi, petit gars, tu vas tomber si je suis pas là. So, attends-moi, petit gars. Petit gars is a little boy. So, wait for me. You're going to fall if I'm not there. Okay? Tu vas tomber si je suis pas là. Le plaisir de l'un, c'est de voir l'autre se casser le cou. So, Caroline.
How do you even translate?
Well, I'm trying not to translate too directly, because if you do that, we that did.
I'm a translator.
Yeah, okay, but okay, I got it. Okay.
Pleasure is to see the other one messed up, basically. And se casser le cou is like breaking your neck for sure, literally.
Yeah. So it's
Some people will take pleasure in seeing you fail.
exactly in other people's pain. Okay, that's basically the message there. And then the next verses that come up, they're not all about the first verse. Okay, what he does is he makes little stories with 4 lines. It's always something different, giving an example of his main message. So you go back to the second one. Quand le patron te raconte que tes adroit et gentil. Le patron is the boss, okay? And he tells his worker, t'es adroit et gentil. He's giving him compliments, okay? What do you think the reason behind his giving him compliments is?
Needs a raise to pay for the food for the 12 kids.
A happy employee who keeps working and making money for you.
Exactly. They're going to make more money. So you have to forget that first verse isn't there. He's not on the same line of thought, if you want. So then with the next, sois sûr que tu as le nigo. Nigo means somebody who's a little bit innocent, simple-minded. Okay? So, que tu es le nigo qui fait marcher son bateau. So if you're the employee who works harder because he's giving you compliments, then, you're being taken advantage of, in other words. But you're doing it because you like the compliments. The next one. So, and then it goes back to the message. Il est jeune, il est joli, il est riche, il est poli. So he's talking about somebody who's rich and polite, young, good looking. Mais une chose l'ennuie, there's one thing that gets on his nerves. L'ennui, c'est que son valet a le génie. Le valet, so this is a rich guy. So le valet is somebody who works for a rich guy. Well, he's jealous, not just kind of, he's jealous that his valet, the person who works for him, is smarter than he is. Le génie means he's a genius. Okay? And then it goes back to the message. L'argent est au bas de l'échelle et le talent par en haut. C'est pourquoi personne en haut, pourtant la vue est plus belle. Fait que l'argent est au bas de l'échelle. So, he's kind of saying the opposite of...
now, of reality.
Yeah, he's saying the opposite of reality. Money is usually up here on l'échelle is the ladder. Okay? He's putting it down here. L'argent est au bas de l'échelle et le talent par en haut. He says talent is more important than money. But in society, is that the way it works? Not really. We wish it did. But, c'est pourquoi personne en haut. That's why there's nobody at the top with talent. Pourtant, la vue est plus belle. So if you're at the top, that's where the view's better. That's where the view's better. So it's really a song full of metaphors, actually. That's what it is. If you wanted to study the metaphor, this is a really good song for that. Okay, it's going to get a little cruel now in the metaphors. Parce que j'avais pas de manteau, j'ai pris la peau de mon chien. So because I didn't have a coat, I took my dog's fur. Okay, I took his sa peau. Yeah, his pelt. Okay? Tu vois, il n'y a pas plus salaud que moi qui chante ce refrain. So, there's nobody salaud. Dirty, yeah. Plus salaud que moi qui chante ce refrain. So, the moi qui chante ce refrain is the one who's singing the song. Who's singing the song? Well, yeah, tonight it was. But if we go in the context of this, it's Félix Leclerc. So he's talking about himself, actually, in this song. Okay? Parce que j'avais pas de manteau, j'ai pris la peau de mon chien. Tu vois, il n'y a pas plus salaud que moi qui chante ce refrain. I took it in a way, at the time that he wrote this, and this became a big hit for Félix. And you can interpret songs any way you want. But the interpretation that I got from him was he was a big star. And it's his way of saying that he's just an ordinary guy. He actually grew up on a farm. He was a farmer's son with a big family and really lived a simple life. And he was a very humble man as well. If you listen to interviews of Félix Leclerc, he wasn't the kind of guy who was I'm the best, I'm the greatest.
Must have come from a family of 12.
Yeah, maybe. I did read up on it. He was from a big family, but I'm not sure if it was 12. Quand on me dit va à droite, and then he's still talking about himself. Quand on me dit va à droite, c'est à gauche que je m'attelle. So when they tell me to go to the right, where do I go? To the left. Okay, what does it tell you about it?
Charts his own course.
Yeah, exactly. He's got his own way of thinking. He's a rebel. And actually, politicians back then didn't like him very much because of some. Well, actually, there's a verse coming up. There's a verse coming up with that in it. Fait que c'est à gauche que je m'attelle. Vous qu'aux enfers on rejette, on se reverra peut-être au ciel. So you guys who are in hell, who are being thrown out of hell, we might see you up in paradise. There's some religious connotations in this song as well. Like I said,
There's a chance I might get thrown out of hell and end up in heaven after all?
yeah, well,
Slim, but nevertheless there.
actually in Quebec, back when he got big in France, there was Maurice Duplessis was the premier there, and they call that la grande noirceur, the dark period, because him and the religious leaders worked together, and he kept power for ever and ever, amen. And did stuff that a lot of, he didn't like artists because artists would say what they mean, would say stuff like what's coming up. So, the next verse. La veille des élections, il t'appelait son fiston. Fait, election. The night before the election, il t'appelait son fiston. It's a way of saying he oh, you're a good guy, you know. Fiston.
Almost like a son.
Yeah. So he's kind of, you know how politicians are when they want to get elected. Anyway, le lendemain comme de raison, c'est the day after the election, il avait oublié ton nom. He forgot your name. So the night before the election, he loves you, but the night after,
Who are you?
that's it for you. And so that's one of the reasons why politicians didn't really like Félix Leclerc that much, because he spoke his mind in a time where, you know, back in the 50s, 40s and 50s, you know, you'd listen to the priests, you'd listen to the politicians, you'd do what they said. But the artists have other ideas anyway. So the last one, on the religious note, quand Monsieur Curé a dit la paroisse est pleine d'impies, okay? So when the priest said, you're all a bunch of sinners, okay? Gang d'impies, you don't believe in, you know, God and all that. C'est pas à cause des péchés, it's not because of your sins. C'est que les dîmes sont pas payés. It's because you're not putting enough money in them. Like I said, Félix Leclerc was not shy about his opinions. He put them in his songs. Today, you can probably put pretty well almost anything in a song and get away with it. Some things would be a little bit more frowned upon, but back then, it was a different world. So, wait.
Just a point, maybe people know that, but in the 50s in Quebec, it was almost like the middle age for the region. We were, as much as today, we're not religion people that much, but in the 50s it was all about religion, and politician was very influenced of, Maurice Duplessis was a big friend with all the archbishops and things like that. So it was quite bold to do something like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and the one before too, against Duplessis, he was talking against the premier in that one. La veille des élections, he was talking about Duplessis when he wrote that. I have no doubt that's what inspired that. That's why he says, if you see the line right before, it says couplet censuré, censored. And he actually says that in a few live versions of the song. He said before he sings those two last ones, he goes couplet censuré, and then he goes into it. Yeah. That's why I kind of admired him. No, I really admired the guy because he had the guts to stand up to the establishment. So
What does the end of the song have to do with the 12 kids at the start of the song?
See, I kind of just each verse is its own little story.
But at the same time, you have 12 kids because it's your duty as a Catholic person. It's your duty to procreate and have many children.
All the stories are linked.
They are.
If you read between the lines, they are all linked. And they're all essentially, it's actually just a protest song.
Yeah, and they're all linked as well to the message that he gives you in his chorus. It throws you back to the chorus. Boom, and then he comes in with another one, and then he comes in with another one. And you know, in 4 lines, you can say a lot of stuff. It's hard though, but you have to be a poet. And we'll look at this song again in another optic next week, because we'll be doing other types of exercises that have to do with something else about this song and the way that Felix used to write. But I don't want to get into that. Let's just look at the rhyme. So we're just looking at end of sentence rhymes. See, you can have songs that don't rhyme at all. I listened to a song the other day, Tom Waits. Not one line in the song rhymed, but he was telling a kind of a story, and it works. So, but the rhyme does have something to it. C'est accrocheur. It has a musicality to it when you get to the end of the line. But some people put those like they'll be in the middle of the line, in the middle of the sentence. Or in rap, sometimes it'll be like almost a whole sentence that rhymes. Before I go any further, les goûts ne sont pas discutables, okay? Tastes are not debatable. You know, anybody can, you have to respect other people's tastes, you know? Some people can think that's a really good song, while other people think, oh my God, what is that? You know, it's all in your taste. So anyway, that's why I'm coming back to the rap thing. I've listened to some, and I've read some of the lyrics, and some are really well done, and some of them just don't mean anything. And this has been brought up by many professional songwriters, that the words don't mean that much. Especially in popular music, it's more the beat, and how the words sound with the music and with the beat and the rhythm and stuff. It all depends on your taste. Anyway, we're not here to
Could you
debate taste.
forward one that you consider well done?
Of what?
Rap.
I've read a few of Eminem's songs, and there's some deep stuff in there. He's a very good poet. You have to take the time but there's a lot of metaphor too. That's another thing. In some, not just rap, in some songs, there'll be a lot of metaphor. So you got to kind of read between. You were saying a while ago, you got to kind of read between the lines of what's in there.
Or maybe
But-
the culture as well. La culture, le vocabulaire, like the vocabulary and the culture, I think sometimes you need some insight to, well, me anyway, to better understand
Yeah.
what it is they're trying to.
Yeah. No, that's true. The culture and the language will make a difference too, on how we see something or how we express it. You know, how the artist chooses to express it. So getting back to the rhyme. La voisine avait dit nous autres. We're just looking at the end of the line. Autre, okay, first line, enfant, épaule, autant. Okay, so you see how the second and fourth line, they rhyme like enfant, autant is the same sound. Okay? So that's what we call a rich rhyme. There's different kinds of rhymes. And then there's the rhyme that's, il appelle ça des rimes pauvres, the poor rhyme. It's like, it almost sounds the same, you know? In fact, if you say autre and épaule, there's the R sound and there's the L sound, but there's the E at the end, autre and épaule. So that would be what I call a poor rhyme. It doesn't mean it's a poor, you know, it doesn't mean it's not well done. It just means they don't sound exactly alike. That's all. Okay? So that's one type of rhyme. And the second verse, look at the first two lines. Raconte and gentil. They don't look the same, they don't even rhyme. Okay? Which brings me to the point, you say what you want to say. That's what's important. First, if you can make it rhyme, bonus, you know, because then you have that musicality at the end of the sentence. But it doesn't have to be like that. And Félix Leclerc, he was a great poet. And he had something to say. He said it. Couldn't find a rhyme? Oh well. On we go. So in the next two lines, Nigo and bateau, perfect rhyme. Hey? Okay, so he nails those two. The next one, okay? Joli, poli, ennui, génie. All right. Okay? The next one. Échelle, haut, belle. Another type of rhyme. Okay? And I'll write those down in a minute. Okay? And then manteau, chien, salaud, refrain. The crossing rhyme. Okay? The next one is the same thing. Drette, attelle, rejette, ciel. Couplet censuré is not part of the next verse. It's élection, fiston, raison, non. And then the last one is dit, impie, péché, payé. So I'll start with that one. Okay? So for your types of rhymes, and we're going to, and don't forget, these are verses with 4 lines. Not all songs have only 4 lines in the verse. So, you know, what I'm showing you here can be adapted numerous ways. But in this case, let's look at the last one. So usually what you do is and they do this in English as well. They give, for a code, they use the letters of the alphabet. Okay? So because Z is my first sound, I go A. Okay? Z, A, P, obviously A. The next one, péché, payé, so that's a B, B. Okay? So there's that's the type of rhyme. Okay? I'm not going to bother giving you there's technical titles to these, unless you really want them. And I'd have to find the English version because I only know the French version. Okay, the one right before, élection, fiston, raison, non, because they all rhyme, it's all A's. Okay? So that's your style of writing. Then if we go to the one before that, drette, attelle, rejette, ciel, A, B, A, B. Okay? And our last one would be like, oh yeah, there's one like that. Okay, if you look at the one with l'argent est au bas de l'échelle, where ho, usually you don't use the same word to make a rhyme, but because he had something to say, and he couldn't find another word that, you know, that's an artistic choice. But that is A, B, B, A. And then after that, there's other variants like the, you know, the second verse. The second verse, raconte gentil. So that would be A, B, and then there's another sound. Nigo bateau. That would be a C, C, because it's another sound. And then obviously, if you had one that didn't rhyme at all, A, B, C, D, it would be as easy as that. Okay, that's just to give you the principle of it. What you do with it, that's up to you. You can, if you decide to make a verse with 6 lines, you can play with this. You know, you can have. If I had a 6-line verse, you could have A, B, B, C, and then come back with another A, and then you'd kind of have another one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then let's say you do a crisscross. So it would be a style of rhyme. your own style. And that's what the idea is, to make your own style. So, before we go any further, so now we're going to do a few exercises. Like rhyming exercises, but we'll start off with something real simple. And then we'll go from there. Before I do that though, I'll take down your three,
Oh. My 3 themes.
I think I could probably write them on there. Oh yeah. So I'll just stay right within the bar here.
Environment.
Okay. Whoops.
Animal.
Animals. Okay.
And addiction.
Addiction. Okay. So before we look at these themes, just to give you a little bit of practice at rhyming, and this is really just off the cuff stuff. Okay? So you take a sheet of paper, you pick a rhyme, and then you just make a list. Just make you can go downward, sideways, whatever way you feel like doing it. Like you pick a word like, I don't know, rat, cat, flat, fat, and you just make a bunch of rhymes. And just keep doing it. Okay? With
Can't
one
be a phrase.
Hey?
Can't be a phrase.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
For now, it's just getting into the rhyming mode. That's what I call it. So you take one word and we'll do this for, let's do it for 5 minutes, okay?
Do we use the rhyme dictionary? Or is it just in our head? Or can you use something? Because I can use just in my head.
In your head.
Est-ce qu'on prend les dictionnaires de rime ou est-ce qu'on...
No. Oh yeah, don't use a dictionary for this. Nadine, don't use a dictionary for this. This is just to get you used to writing rhymes, okay? So just a bunch of words and if you hit a knot, what I mean by a knot, if you hit a knot, like you're on the rhymes in at, and all of a sudden you don't have any more rhymes, start another word and go, okay? You got 5 minutes, starting now. Well, don't stop in the middle of a word, but if you've got 2 other words, keep that list, because you never know, it could come in handy. We'll go to a song just to change things up a little bit, and then I've got another exercise. But before that, I could hear my mom screaming at me from above, saying, "What are you doing? Where's your manners? Francine, veux-tu te présenter au groupe?" Francine's new with the group. I just should have started that way, just so you get to know everybody, and then maybe if everybody just wants to give their names, so you get to know who everybody is. So
just on
your name and who you are, what you do.
My name is Francine Patnaud, and Julie is a good friend of mine, and she told me about this class, and it sounded very interesting. I've written a few songs in the past, and I just thought I have one that I've written that I have no words to, and I thought this might help me develop an idea to put words to the melody.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you know Julie.
I'm Hubert, I'm from Quebec, I work at the radio.
Okay.
Norm,
Hi, Norm.
Midland.
I'm Glenn, technical services coordinator here, participating, so I'm multitasking. I've written probably a few hundred songs at least in my life, and working on my third album.
Good for you.
Do you know the girl in the box?
Right?
It's kind of that.
My whole body, but I only believe this big, 24 inches, but my name's Nadine, I'm a translator, I live in Penetang. I write all day for practical reasons, trying to get a little more creative.
Good.
Hi, my name's Randy.
I am Mike Lefebvre, I excel in mediocrity.
Do you recognize him at all?
He looks very familiar.
Yeah.
Good friend of Louis, he's my brother.
Good friend. Yeah, you know my name.
Was it any?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I just wanted to get rid of the formalities. So can we pull up Spanish Train? There's no video, official video, because this is going back a few years. It's Chris de Burgh. His big hit was The Lady in Red, but he wrote some storytelling tunes. I discovered him before The Lady in Red, which became a big pop hit for him, and it was really great. For me, it's not one of his best, but Les goûts ne sont pas discutables. It's a good song. Don't get me wrong. And there were versions, you go on YouTube, some people, like when there's no official video to a song, some people will make a slideshow, and I didn't want to do that because I don't want to take away from the song. So you don't have to look up at the video because all it is the album cover. So follow the words, and then we'll discuss this. Jim, before we start, does anybody know, first of all, Chris de Burgh, some of you have heard of him? No?
Just
Yeah.
Ok, mais Spanish Train, ça te dit rien? Ok, Lady in Red's connaît ça. Ok, Spanish, no? Ok, ok.
Trish the stripper.
Yeah, I was thinking of that one too. When I started getting this program together, I always over-prepare. I was making a list of all the songs. I was really trying to think of the text, though, the lyrics, less of the melody because there's some really good songs out there. But I was really trying to think of the text and the different, protest songs and love songs, and I thought I had that on my list because it's a very well written song.
It's a story.
And it's a great story. It is a great story. So maybe somewhere in a few weeks I'll pull that one up. I'll note it anyway.
It's gutsy.
Yeah. Okay. No. Thanks, Glenn. Hey.
Pretty heavy.
It is, eh? Like not just the words, but musically, it goes so well with what's going on. Like there's the strings and everything, and the whistle blowing at the beginning of the song, and then again at the end with the train. Before I start to comment, I open the floor to comments, things you might have noticed. There'll be a link.
Inserted for that song.
Oh, okay. That's what. Because these sessions are being recorded, so if you ever want to go back and see something, I'll share the link. It's a YouTube link. I'll share them with you, and on there there'll be
Link for that.
yeah, the link for that song.
Broadcast that song.
And you can go in case I don't get a chance to. The note, Patricia the Stripper is an amazing song. It's set in the 1920s.
Yeah, both Prohibition time.
Yeah, it's set in the 1920s. It's really well written, as good as this song, a lot shorter, and really in the style of music of that time. To make a little bit of a segue between last week's Gordon Lightfoot, I did a Gordon Lightfoot tune, Yarmouth Castle. Gordon Lightfoot discovered this guy when he went to the UK to play, and he brought him back to open shows for him because of his story. The storytelling is amazing. Another song that you might want to check out is The Crusader. That one has a video, but I think they're using a film, and it's all about the time of the Les Croisades, the Crusades, between they weren't called Muslims back then, the Saracens and the Christians, and there was holy wars, and it's as good as this, if not. It's just amazing. He's an amazing storyteller, and the music.
Came traveling as well.
Pardon?
The Spaceman came.
Oh yeah, that's
another
another.
great song. And Chris was a little religious, but it's,
Yeah.
it's a fabulous song.
So last week we studied Yarmouth Castle. Remember, there was no chorus. This one here has one. It's only 3 times. It's not like a verse chorus where verse chorus. He goes through his story, but then he brings it in. And if you notice, who's dying in the beginning? If you look at the 3rd verse, yeah, the railwayman. And look where he brings them back in. Do you guys know poker at all? Yeah, so they're playing poker. He brings them back in because he dies, his soul's kind of hanging there, but he's the one who's dealing the cards. At the end, though, I don't think it's the railwayman anymore. In the last chorus,
The singer. It's the singer, the songwriter.
yeah, you bet. Because he says it's my soul. My soul is on the line. Now they're playing chess, and they're always playing games for souls. And like he says, the devil still cheats and wins more souls. And as for the Lord, he's just doing his best. So no, and if you look at it's not like at Tom once he goes 4 lines every verse. Here, first 2 verses are 4 lines, but then it goes into 5 lines. It's really because of the music, the melody is different, and it goes with the story, really. Oh yeah.
Not only the music, but
The
storytelling.
Oh yeah, it's very theatrical. Wouldn't surprise me that he probably did theater somewhere in his background to be able to pull something like this off. Songs like these are.
He's an Irish poet. He probably kissed the Blarney Stone. They all tell stories, those Irishmen.
Oh yeah. I don't know if he. Yeah, it could be. He could be Irish. De Burgh. That doesn't sound British.
I was told
My cousin's a super fan. Yeah.
Scottish?
No, I was told he was part of the British royal family.
Oh really? Oh.
Like a lesser lord sort of thing.
Yeah, mind you, the names, because Ireland's and Scotland, and they're all part of the United Kingdom, but
It's castle in Ireland.
Yeah. That's where his recording studio is. The saxophone player, they used to play at the party on the dock all the time with Northern Harbor, toured with Chris de Burgh, and actually was on the album Lady in Red.
Oh, really? Ah.
He's a sort of a friend of ours.
Yeah, nice. And rhymes, if you look at, he doesn't really have a set pattern of rhymes. There's rhymes here and there, creep, deep, side, died, but he doesn't go for the rhyme. He goes for the storytelling. If you can get a rhyme in here and there, obviously because of the musicality of the rhyme, it's okay. On dirait que ça repose l'oreille. calms the ear every once in a while hearing a rhyme. That's what sort of got me with that song by Tom Waits, was there was absolutely no rhymes at all. And for me, it was like, I don't know if I like this. And it's a question of taste. The story's like, it's really about real world stuff, but for me, no rhymes. I don't mind if there's no rhymes here and there, but no rhymes at all. Anyway, that's personal taste. So, speaking of rhymes, I'll probably be back into this and Yarmouth Castle. We might look at them a little bit more in depth to how the story unfolds next week or the week after, where we look a little bit more deeply into stories. But seeing as we're into rhymes and time is flying by, we're going to do, this time you can use the rhyming dictionary, or you can use what you just wrote. That's possible too. And we're going to do like, you know when you go to pick a card at the pharmacy? Because it's going to be hard for me to go like this for everybody. So maybe it's easier and it gives you a chance to get up and come and have a look. Come and pick one of the themes, okay? You're going to pick one of the themes. It doesn't have to be one of yours. Just one of the themes that's on there. If you see one there, if you don't, come and have a look. Flip it around, okay? Start off. I'm going to time it because so that you get a chance to do a few different things. Like I said, my goal is just to give you some tools so that when you do sit down to write you've got more to feed on for inspiration. So what you want to do, so that we don't get too complex, because we're on a timer, we're going to do a bit like this style of verse is just a 4-line verse. But you'll have options, and the time will tell you how long you everybody's different. Some people work really good under pressure. Some people really don't like to have that time pushing. Mind you, in some of the songwriting exercise that I do, that's what is write a song in 10 minutes, and my God, it's very stressful. It's very stressful. But once in a while, it's good to get out of your comfort zone, and I try to do that as much as possible, just so I'm not stuck doing always the same thing. So how many of you are not bothered by the clock? Are not bothered by the clock? Only a few. Okay, most of you aren't. Okay, so let's say I'll give you a good period of time, like 5. It would be more than 5 minutes. If we went with 10, 15 minutes.
But for what? For
Okay, no. What you're going to do is you're going to get in as many verses as you possibly can. Okay, but switching styles. I want you to try different styles so that you don't write them all in AAAA or AABB. I want you to try like the first one that hits you. You think, I can do that fairly easy. Grab that one and run with it first. Okay, but before you do that, get your theme. Okay, because I want the 4 or 3 or 2 verses that you have to follow that theme, so that you'll be basically kind of writing a small song a small poem. The sentences, I'm not going to be preoccupied with that, but don't forget, the longer the sentences are, the more it's going to take you time. So if you keep your sentences to, they don't have to be as short as this, okay? They don't have to be as short as Félix Leclerc's, but they don't have to be as long as these either, in Spanish strain. So, and they don't have to be uniform. We'll get into that next week. I don't want to give you too much. Really, tonight was really about rhymes.
So you're really after 4 lines or 8, minimum 8 lines?
No, well, what you want to do is, okay, I pick a theme. Do you guys want to do this once together, or you?
Well, give us an example.
Okay, an example. Okay, I pick where was that one? I missed. I mistook, I heard one last week and the beast, the one with the beast in it. The inner beast, yeah. Somebody said inner peace, and I kind of heard inner beast, so I really like that. For me, I like to get outside the box. So I pick inner beast, okay? Then I take this, because I figure I can do four rhymes in a row really quick. I'll take my first verse, I'll do this one, okay? About the inner beast, okay? And then, but you're probably going to have time for more than one, okay? Unless you really sit there and think and think and think. Try not to overthink it, okay? You should get to at least 2 of them. So we'll say 10 minutes. That should be enough. And at 10 minutes, I'll ask you, okay, whereabouts are you? And if you guys, some of you are right in the middle of one, I don't want to break up your flow. Well, I'll give you a few more minutes to finish it off, okay? So, I do inner beast. I got this one. I still got time. I figure, I think I can do this one. So then I'll do my second verse, but still with inner beast in mind, okay? Still with the same theme. If you can make the story flow, it's better. But
Okay, show us how you can do it in 2 minutes, or 10 minutes. 2 minutes, you're the expert, so 2 minutes.
Expert.
Let's go.
Expert. Expert is a big word, and I would never use that to qualify myself, ever. I'm not an expert. I do it, and I love what I do. But an expert, I'm no expert. But if you want a quick example, okay. I just said inner beast, 4 A's. Okay. So now you got me under pressure. He likes that. First thing I would do, just so that you're not looking at a blank page, is I put right away, okay, inner beast. I want to make sure that, okay, an inner beast. So when I think of inner beast, what am I thinking of? So it's something that's about me that I don't really want to let out. Okay, so for me, an obvious thing, and now I'm brainstorming. I put wolf, werewolf, okay? And then I start thinking about, okay, what are the things? Okay, the moon comes up, okay. Not on a hot and stormy night, that's been used way too many times. And I'm doing this fast, on a moonlit night. Feeling uptight. Something inside, something inside. What?
But something inside, and the next line can be that I want to hide.
No, but I wasn't going with that. I was going with the 3 A's. That's why, yeah, but that would be a good one if I went A, B, B. So something inside is fright. And I would never make a song out of this, but something inside is because grammatically, we're throwing the grammar out. Remember Botten, the Souvenirs song? Yeah. Memories can't be botten. Botten is not a word. He made it up, okay? Something inside is a fright. I'm going to throw one in there. I'm feeling so uptight, okay? And now that last line opens me up to another. Okay. So that last line kind of opens me up to my next verse. Because then I want to start.
But just read it for us.
So, on a moonlit night, feeling uptight, something inside is a fright. I'm feeling so uptight. And then I go into a next verse. But your next verse, because I did all, that's an A, I would, because the idea of this exercise is to try different types of verse, then you pick another one. So say, like, then I could go and get that other rhyme and maybe use the AABB for my second verse. You know what I mean? You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, okay. So,
Can't do it, but I got it.
yeah, you can do it. Don't forget. Pick your theme and write it down. And if you have, write a little brainstorm just so that you're not. And you can write in French and English, whatever. If you speak Polish, you can, but you'll have to translate. That's for sure. You'll have to translate it for me. Okay, and I'm starting the timer now. Stop the clock.
Touchdown.
Touchdown.
I don't have a sports ball in my body.
Is the next phase show and tell?
No. We're not there yet.
Come on. All this work and you won't let us show it off?
Oh, no, no. Oh, I thought you meant literally show and tell. I haven't played that in a long time.
I mean, do we get to spill our guts?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm going to give you the option, because some people would rather keep it to themselves. But before we do the rounds, it's just to say, usually when you're going to sit down and write a song, you wouldn't do what I just did unless you really want to challenge yourself or throw yourself out of your comfort zone, which is possible too, okay? What we just did there, you can do this. But if it doesn't make you feel comfortable, that's probably not a good way to express yourself. Like for you, and then this is very individual. I only do it once in a while to shake myself up. But most of the time, I sit down and really, some songs I'll research, I'll research lines. I'm working on one right now where I'm still not, I've got all the music, but I'm still researching. Like now, I did like about 10 pages of just free writing and then going online and looking up different poems or songs that were about that same subject, and they were giving me other ideas. So I wasn't taking from them, I was inspiring myself from somebody else's work. And most art is imitation. You don't get me wrong, you don't steal it from others, you inspire yourself from something. I'm working on a song about losing friends, okay? So I looked up songs about loss. And man, I'm starting in French. Some songs will come to me, like the idea comes to me in French, so I go with it. If it comes to me in English, I go with that. And so I started looking up, and the next thing you know, I'm writing. Now I've got to weed out through these lines and see which ones are going to fit better with the music, and so that's the phase I'm at. I'm just trying to explain a little bit where my process goes. What I do, and I'm not saying that, I'm not saying you should do what I do. Do what you think is best for you. That's it. And find your ways of inspiring yourself. If that 10-minute exercise worked for you, that might be something you want to look into, okay? If it didn't work for you, and you felt like you were in high school, you might want to look at another, you might want to look at another way of it. And the internet is so sure, there's bad stuff out there, but there's so much out there that can help you inspire yourself. It can be as simple as reading an article in the paper. Sometimes I read about how other artists wrote songs. A Day in the Life by the Beatles. They were sitting in the studio. They had their own studio, so they can afford to do this, because you don't go into a studio to write songs. If you do that, you better have a lot of money. But they could afford that because they were at that period in their career. And John Lennon caught him out. He's pulling lines and ideas out of the newspaper. I read the news today, oh boy. It's like that. And he just went and got things, and sometimes it's metaphorical. Some of the things like 3,000 holes in Blackbird, Lancashire, and then the holes were rather small. Now they know how many holes it takes to fill the Albert Hall. They were picking stuff out of the newspaper. So wherever you think you can find inspiration, if you can find inspiration in stuff that you did. Pride, souvenirs. Remember I gave the example of souvenirs. He was thinking of an emotion that he had when he was a kid, and he brought that back to a song when he was in his 20s. So does anybody, and this is not, that you have absolutely no obligation here. If you would like to share, now's the time. Would you like to share? Even if it's not the whole thing, it can be one of the verses, it can be two of them. Nadine?
Yeah.
I'm going to come closer because it's the speaker.
I managed to get the three types. So I chose freedom, but you won't know till the end. Can you hear me okay?
Yep. And that freedom is your theme, right?
Yes.
Okay.
He stares down at her scuffed red shoes. He never stops with his barbs and complaints. Some days she swears no more bruise. What they used to be together, now they just ain't. He thinks she doesn't know anything. She knows he doesn't feel a thing. They push through the days living, both good at escape and avoiding. One morning in the mirror, she spies her crown. Today's the day she leaves that clown. On her way out, she grabs her sword, and like a queen, she walks out the door.
Nice. Good job. It made me think, Nadine, keep all of what you have here, because you never know. When you get to the point of writing your poem or song, there might be something in these exercises you might want to use. Like Nadine, you might want to use that somewhere down the line. Even if it's not for this, it could be for something down the line that you decide, hey, I want to go back, get my book out, and work with that idea. Okay? Anybody else?
I'll go.
Yeah.
So I got three different types.
So give us the theme first.
Well, I went with my inner beast because that one sounds fun.
Okay, good.
That one's fun. So anyways, it goes out. My inner beast can't hurt me. I let him out and set him free. He's acting out for all to see. Round and round, I dance with glee. He gets funky, he gets down, funky monkey, loose in town. My inner beast, something to see. When he's out, the neighbors frown. Spread the word throughout the town. They spread the word all around.
Good girl. and I believe some of them were in inner sentence rhymes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's other things you can do. No, good job. Anybody else want to give it a crack?
I'll go. This one is about family. All alone I sit and wonder what you're doing tonight. Although I make the best of it, I know it's just not right. To leave you by yourself again, to leave you all alone. I just can't stop thinking of that day when I will be back home. So leave the porch light burning, kiss the kids goodnight, tell them Daddy loves them before you close the light. I long to hold you next to me and thinking of your kiss. I'll never leave you by yourself, this place I'll never miss.
Good stuff. Yeah, nice, really.
Now I'm embarrassed.
No,
They're all
never.
too good.
You should never be embarrassed because and try to remember this. And I'm as bad as anybody for this. Is comparing yourself to others. Try not to do that. It's just it's self-defeating, and it's a rabbit hole you'd rather not go down.
Okay, mine's, the theme is not inner beast, but just beast.
Okay.
And it's to do with my grandfather going back when I was 5 years old. But it's in French, so it's going to be a little, some people may not understand.
Yeah. So if you can. Yeah, but if you can at the end.
Translate.
Yeah.
I will translate.
Yeah.
OK. Mon grand-père, sur le bord de ma mère, nous racontait des histoires pour nous faire peur. Les loups-garous étaient partout. On les voyait derrière la grange, pas loin du gros montage. On avait peur de ces grosses bêtes qui nous mangeaient jusqu'à la tête. Même si mon grand-père est longtemps mort, il me revient et je le vois encore, avec ses histoires des loups-garous qui couraient les champs derrière chez nous.
Yeah, nice imagery. There's some nice images in there.
Translation?
Yeah.
And it's very hard to translate
Well,
French to English,
yeah, loosely.
only because nothing rhymes.
Yeah, but don't go for the rhyme. Just so that they understand the.
My grandfather, on my mother's side, always told us stories that would make us fearful. That is what we said. No, told us stories to make us afraid of werewolves. They were everywhere. We saw them behind the barn, not far from the big ramp. We were scared of these big beasts that would even eat our heads. Now it's French that rhymes, English it doesn't. Even though my grandfather's long dead, he comes back to me and I see him now with his stories of werewolves that ran the fields behind home. But again,
You've got the voice for it, though. You've got the voice for it. And something that you made me click on something. See, he didn't take inner beast. He just took the word beast. When you're taking from this, don't take it literally. Like he went and got just a word as a theme. You can do that. If you see just one word that it's maybe not the whole idea, but it's one word from the themes that are there, go with it. Run with it. Okay? What?
I thought I was something good, but since I heard everybody, I'm not so sure. It's in French, so I try my best to translate. I'm not that good in English. Thème, c'est solitude.
Le thème, c'est solitude?
Solitude.
OK.
Solitude.
Oui.
L'horaire trop chargé, le party est repoussé. À quel moment j'ai bien pu me tromper pour travailler seul, perdre mes amitiés? Pourtant, je suis seul que depuis que je suis né. Étouffé dans une foule accablante, à la recherche d'un refuge, asphyxié par la pièce vide et béante, je trouve un étrange réconfort dans le grabuge.
Cool.
So, hard to translate. The schedule is too full. The party must be postponed. At which moment did I make a mistake? For always working alone and lose my friendships. I'm alone only since I am born. It's so dark.
No, no. And you're literally translating. So you usually, when you translate or adapt songs, And I do that just for exercises, from French to English, from English to French. You never translate literally
Yeah.
from one to the other.
I know.
Yeah, but that's fine.
I can go on.
Yeah.
Choked by a crowd, a city crowd, can I say? I'm looking for hiding, asphyxiated by an empty room. I find a strange comfort in noise.
Yeah, and just that line, it works in English as well. Asphyxiated by an empty room, that is a poetic, like that's very, because you can do so much with that. You can do so much with that. I'm just curious, when everybody was reading, how many of you, nobody used a rhyming dictionary?
I use it. Yeah, I use it.
Oh, okay, so anybody else? So basically everybody went off the cuff. That's good, that's a good thing. When you've got more time, obviously, you can go through rhymes. The idea really is to try and get the story or the message. That's the most important part. The rhyme, that can come later. Some writers will write and then they'll take the rhyming, and if they can find rhymes, they will, but if they don't, move on. It's no big deal. What? 15 minutes?
Okay. So I took old friends, des anciens amis, but in the context of a pet. So, en français.
Ouais.
Du coin de mon œil, j'ai cru te voir, une silhouette toute noire, partie tout comme un chemin. Je me suis dit que ce serait le temps qu'on se jase bien comme avant, si t'arrives bien à pardonner la dernière fois qu'on s'est croisés. Fait que viendrais-tu prendre un verre, papa, qu'on se parle comme les très chers, moi avec une belle grande bière, et toi toujours à ta manière. Tu sais que je pense souvent à toi, puis le regard de ce jour-là. Oh, pardon. Je vais prendre le temps de te raconter que tes enfants ont bien grandi. J'en aurais bien pas envie de te laisser me quitter. Tu sais que je pense souvent à toi, puis le regard de ce jour-là. Je sais que ça t'a bien surpris quand je t'ai dit que c'était fini. So it's bizarre because it's like old friends, but hidden away is like euthanizing a pet. It's kind of bizarre.
But you said what? That it's pets?
A pet, like un animal de compagnie.
Uh-huh.
Ouais. Fait que c'est comme tu jases, it's like you're speaking to your old friend, but it's not a human.
Yeah. No, that's a good idea. Yeah, no, it's creative. So you want to just give
Sure.
the
So it's like from the corner of my eye, I thought I had seen a dark silhouette, and as quick as I saw it, it ran away as a deer would. I told myself it would be time that we would speak as friends, if you are able to forgive the last time we crossed paths. So would you come and have a glass with me so that we could speak as we did before? Me with a tall beer and you with however you drank before. I'll take the time to tell you that the kids are all grown, and I'll want the conversation to continue. You know that your presence is always there, and that from that last look, I won't forget that last look, that it was the end sort of thing. I don't know.
No, it's interesting that you made the metaphor between an old friend and a pet.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
And somebody listening to that, in my mind, it could be an ex-partner, an ex-lover. It could be like, I didn't see in
Yeah.
somebody, let's say this was a song. It's funny how we
Yeah.
interpret things differently.
And when you're writing poetry or songs, it starts individual, but you try to get something universal. You know what I mean? Like a universal message. That's why, if you took all the songs in the world and put them in a big bag, what would be the theme that would come out that's the most popular? 99.5, if not 99.9% of the time, what is the subject? You bet. Love, because everybody's felt it in many different ways. It could heartbreak, it can be you fell in love, it can be the love of a pet, it can be the love of a parent, losing somebody. That's why, because it's such a universal theme that it's everybody can feel. But and when you start, always remember you should start from yourself, and usually you'll speak to other people. So does anybody else want to? Okay, you want to give it a crack? Okay.
My theme started with solitude, but I don't think it ends like that.
No.
And I wrote it bilingual, just for you guys tonight. So je me suis retrouvée seule, délaissée. Tu m'as quitté, mon cœur, tu l'as brisé. When you left that night, I thought my life was over. I didn't want to fight the fight. My spirits had never been lower. Je me suis ramassée. Hey girl, don't give anyone your power. There's no need to ever cower. Je suis femme, fuck, et vieille.
Cool.
So I found myself alone, kind of left alone. And when you left me, and you broke my heart. And then when you left that night, I didn't think I was going to get over it. But then I picked myself up, and I am woman, strong, and free.
Yeah. Good. We're good. Before we go, we'll finish with a video. But before that, I just we've only got 10 minutes. We won't have time to get into the song, but we'll just to finish on a light note. But before we go to the video, remember this, and I'm as guilty of this as anybody. Never judge yourself or your work. Leave that to others. Okay? Leave that to the audience, and you'll know. Like, especially if you're a singer-songwriter, you test songs on people, and you see how they work. If you see them tearing up, you know you got something. Okay? And if you see indifference, well, try it in another setting, because you never know. You just might not be speaking to the right audience for that song or that poem. You never know, because comme les goûts de sont discutables, tastes, everybody's got different tastes. So that's why, for an artist, you should never, don't judge it. Just do it. Do it. Have fun doing it too. Don't go back to high school. So this is a song from, I believe, the 1980s. There's an actual video to this. You might recognize some of the people in it. And we'll come back to it next week. I just thought we'd end on a positive note. Just goes to show you can do all kinds of stuff. So did you recognize the Robin Williams? I recognize right away. The other guy, I know who he is, the blonde guy. He used to be in a sitcom. 90s, I think. I remember him from a sitcom, a comedian. But this guy here, Bobby McFerrin, amazing. Sure, this is, it's a simple little song. It's probably his biggest hit. But I've looked him up, and he does conferences for people about music. And he's like fairly jazz and stuff like that. And he does an exercise with the there's different scales, like, the major scale, minor scale. He does something with the pentatonic scale. And it's really well done. Anyway. So that's it.
Bill Irwin, the blonde guy. I don't know who he is, but it's Bill Irwin.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Law and Order and some.
Yeah. If you look it up, you'll find whatever. He used to be on a sitcom. But can you imagine being one of the cameramen for that video? That must have been fun. Thanks for coming out. It was great. Hope you had fun. And we'll get back at it again next week. I still got one more rhyming exercise I want us to try, but we might try it a bit later on. Well, actually, we'll try and finish off the ones we've got here, but I'll probably add a couple more because So, yeah, oh yeah, the homework. The homework. If you can get it done for next week, if not, within the next few weeks, bring a list of 10 or 15 songs that you really like. If you have the name of the artist, that's fine. If it's a song from when you were young and you don't have the name of the artist, it's something your mom used to sing to you, that's fine too, because we can find it on YouTube for sure.
Remember, you'll fail because you're in high school.
Yeah.
It's a good way to fail.
Some people were traumatized by high school. I wasn't one of them. I actually had I had a good experience in high school.
I enjoyed high school very much.
Yeah.
Best years of my life.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm signing off now.
Bye, Nadine.
Glenn,
Bye.
want to support the church?
Don't worry. Be happy.